a lot of people here tonight, people who are sitting near me in the crowd tonight. We're wondering why our priorities seem to be elsewhere. Not that other people don't need help, but very concerned about that.
So we're into almost $300 billion for Ukraine, and yet they're offering people $750
for immediate needs.
For the worst, but for the worst hurricane that anybody's seen. But more importantly than that is they don't have the people. They're not doing it. It's a very bad thing.
How would you do it differently?
I'd have a tremendous team of people here. They don't have any people here. The people are all, I was in North Carolina yesterday. I was in Georgia. And Georgia's different. You have a good governor. He's doing a very good job. But North Carolina is a disaster. And it was also hit very hard. But they don't have the people. And they're complaining there's no people around to help. That was a horrific storm, much worse. And, you know, it's late in the season. You wouldn't think a thing like that could happen. But you have to get the people out, and they have to be out much more. I was there for the entire day, and I saw virtually nobody other than the people who were badly affected. And one man, he's got a house that's gone, and he's sitting on a rock. He's sitting on a rock. What's gone on there? You have to help him, and you have to help him monetarily also. And it's only, you know, if you look, it's Virginia, it's Alabama, it's you know, it's South Carolina was hit very hard. I spoke to their great governor there, and they were hit very hard. Florida was hit very hard.
Biden said the response has been robust and well coordinated, Mr. President.
Yeah, well, nobody says that. He doesn't know.
Well, that's what President Biden said.
He doesn't know what robust is. He doesn't. Look, he should be there, and she should be there. She shouldn't be at fundraisers. She's at fundraisers, and her teleprompter went off, and she didn't do well with the teleprompter off.
That's happened to me a few times.
Yeah, but you will get through it. It happens to me a lot. When the teleprompter goes off, you have to be able to do it. She didn't get through it. But she shouldn't be there anyway. She should be, I would say, North Carolina is bad, is so bad. And
she was there today for 3 hours, I believe, Kamala Harris. But the Democrats accused you of politicizing the storm, even though you got to the storm-ravaged area first. But that you were politicizing the storm, and that was unfair.
You know, anything I do, they'll say, oh, it's political. If I do anything good, no matter what I do, they'll say, oh, he did it for politics. I mean, they could have gotten there way before me.
The 40,000 people in North Carolina who have requested absentee ballots, only 1,000 of those have been returned. This isn't the hurricane-ravaged area of North Carolina. I think Politico just did a piece about this yesterday. How will you in the Republican Party ensure that all voters in hurricane-hit areas have their votes counted? Because this could be a close election. Those votes could matter, and all these mainstream publications are saying this now.
Republican areas got hit very hard. You know that. It got hit very, very hard. I believe, and many people are dead. You know, many people are dead. They don't even know what it's going to be in terms of the number. You know, they have hundreds are missing. And I can't really speak to it. I can only say that I believe they're going to go out and vote if they have to crawl to a voting booth, and that's what's happening. Laura's working on it. Other people are working on it. And we're trying to make it convenient for them to, but they just lost their house. We're trying to make it convenient for them to go out and vote. But we are doing very well in certain areas that we weren't expected to do. Virginia, we're doing well. We're doing well all over. I think we're going to do great in North Carolina because the response has been so bad to the hurricane. This response has been horrific.
But didn't Elon praise Pete Buttigieg, saying he cleared the way for some of my helicopters to come in? He praised Buttigieg.
Well, that was 2 days late because what happened is he sent his great, you know, gadgets in. He has the Starlinks. It's incredible for communication. But they were asking me, the people of North Carolina and representatives, they said, could you possibly speak to Elon Musk and get it? And Elon came through, and then they sent it in, and they wouldn't allow it to go in. And it took 2 days, and then Buttigieg, as you say, Buttigieg called, and I guess after 2 days late, though. And
were they shamed, are you saying, into
Of course they were.
It
was huge publicity that they wouldn't allow. He had helicopters bringing stuff in that's not even gettable. You can't even get it. I mean, honestly, Elon did an amazing job because I called him and I told him the situation. They were trying to get it, but you can't, you know, it's very hard to get. I called him, and he had things being delivered literally by the time I got off the phone. I'm even wondering, it was so quick. But then they got there, and they said they're going to confiscate it. They're going to keep it. FEMA said they're going to keep it. They wouldn't terminate it. Then the publicity got crazy, and then all of a sudden they released it.
What is Joe Biden, I believe on Friday, said that he believes the election will be fair and transparent, but he's not sure it's going to be peaceful. And he walked into the White House briefing room to say that and other things. What do you think he was getting at?
I don't think
he was
knows.
referencing some of your rhetoric.
I don't think he knows. I really don't. I think he has no idea what he said. I really don't. I think he's maybe referencing it. It could be him. But I don't think he really knows. Look, they had a coup. They took it away from him. He's an angry person right now because they took it away. They shouldn't have done that. I'm no fan of his, but they should not have taken it away. They took his 14 million votes and they gave it to somebody who they didn't want. They didn't want her because she was last on the list.
Who would have been? I mean, do you think?
Well, I don't want to say because I'm not looking to build up somebody, but they had about 12 people, and she was the 13th, and 12 were better, all 12.
But do you think they made a mistake? I mean, do you think they made a political mistake?
Well, I'll tell you on November 6th. I can't tell you. I mean, she's not doing very well right now. We're going up, and you see that. We're leading in most of the polls and all. But we were up by 21 points. We were really beating. We had the debate with Biden, and after that, we had this, I think, insurmountable lead. Then I had to do it all over again. Think of this. You're like in a fighter. You're a fighter. And they come out, and the fighter's getting beaten badly, and they say, we'll take that fighter out. We'll give you a new fighter now. That's what happened to me. This can only happen to me. But we're doing well now.
The lawfare that continues to be waged against you. It's almost every time you're up in the polls, something else comes down. On a personal level, how do you deal with that? Just processing it. Superseding indictment. Another memo comes out.
From
another
a deranged
former aide,
lunatic.
Another former aide says this or that. So how do you, on a personal level, deal with it?
Well, what's happened is it's been totally discredited. The biggest case was in Florida. We won the case in its entirety. We're leading in most of the other cases, and a couple of them are just really bad judges that are, Democrat judges, Democrat areas. But I have many cases. It's all what they did is they said, let's go after this guy, and let's cost them a lot of money, but more importantly, a lot of time and a lot of thought.
How will you restore faith in our justice system? A lot of people will say, well, he's just going to do to them what they did to him and get back at them. And
a lot of people say that's what should happen.
Well,
you want to know the truth.
Right. Well, but I think, punitively using government institutions is what got us in this mess in the first place. And our town hall that we did back in February, one of the lines that really resonated, I think, with people is when you said, my revenge is going to be my success.
Yeah, well, I do believe that. But I will say this. They have started a terrible precedent. We've never had this. We do have that in third world countries, banana republics, a lot in South America where they go after somebody politically that's an opponent. We never had it to any great extent, really almost at all.
But you're not going to do that. When you get in office, you're going to look at all your political enemies.
No, I want to make this the most successful country in the world. That's what I want to do.
And so for all the women out there who, maybe don't like this tweet or this joke or this nickname, tonight, what do you say to them about the safety of our homeland?
I say to the women, and I think I do very well with the women, actually. I think it's a lot of fake polling. I think I do very well because I say, I will keep you safe. I'm not going to allow prisoners to come out from Venezuela and many other countries all over the world, the Congo, the Middle East. They come out from the Congo in tremendous numbers. They're coming out of the Middle East, Yemen, and lots of countries that aren't particularly friendly to us. I'm going to keep you safe. I'm not going to let people hurt you. I'm going to have a very strong
They were bugged by that, the protector line. Like some of the... people went crazy about that. He said he's going to be my protector. That's looking down on us. So that's patronizing.
I'm looking up at them. I am going to protect. I'm going to protect men too. It's my job to protect as president. They don't protect right now. When they let 13,099 criminals, murderers, these are people in prison, some getting ready for the death penalty, and they allowed them to come into our country. When I get them out and when I say it's not happening and when I close the border so that bad people, we want people in our country, but they have to be people that are capable of loving our country and that are good people. They have to go past tests. So I say to people, and I'm not ashamed of that. I saw a couple of wise guys on the left saying, oh, who is he? I want to protect women. I'm going to protect women, and I'm going to protect men, and I'm going to protect children. And that's my obligation to do it with the military and with law enforcement.
100 years from now, we'll probably all not be here. How do you want to be remembered?
I think somebody that really worked hard and turned a country around that's going bad. This country's going bad. We're not going to have a country, or certainly we're not going to have a country like this. So more than anything else, I think I want to have somebody say for a long time from now and in a short time from now, he was able to make America great again.
Scale of 1 to 10, this rally, what was it?
This was something really special. Well, this was love. This was pure love. I think it was maybe on a scale of 1 to 10, it was a 12.
I knew it was.
Thank you, Barry.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.